Hello and welcome. This is day 141 in this quest for a 2000 rapid chess rating on chess.com. Okay, here we go. As we wait for an opponent, will I have the white or the black pieces? All right, it's taking a while to find an opponent here. We have a 1720. We have the black pieces. I'm going to try this hippo defense on them and see what they think of that. So here we go. All right. That is not looking so good. So, because they probably want to try and get some attack going there by pushing forward here. Let's see. We probably just need to develop another piece there. I kind of wondered with this hippo defense what would happen. I started playing these the central pawns forward one square first, just to see what they would do. Now, do I want to go ahead and castle or leave the king in the center? All right. Maybe I bring the other knight in. I don't want to block the path of this bishop, so maybe we do need to castle here. If I go ahead and castle, they could attack here. We start breaking these pawns apart. All right, we'll just go ahead and castle. See how they respond to that. All right, now, what do I do about my queenside pawns, or excuse me, pieces, the knight and the bishop? Probably want to keep this bishop here to cover, in case they push forward. We could just go right here and attack. That might be an option. So we'll just go ahead and attack the bishop there in the center. Okay, now, do I capture this way or with the knight? This way drives the bishop away. All right, we'll go ahead and do that. We'll drive the bishop away. If the bishop tries to centralize, now we can just attack the bishop. So we'll go with that. We'll just attack the bishop. Just threaten to get rid of it. All right, well now, do we just wipe that out? Maybe. So we'll go ahead and knock that out of there. And then we could try to jump our knight forward up here and here. So that is a possibility. have to decide if I want to push this pawn forward. Okay, well, let's attack their knight. So we're going to go ahead and attack the knight. You know, if they capture, okay, he doesn't want to do that. So we are going to launch our knight forward. Maybe we go here first, gain space. I think I'm going to go with that. So I'll gain some space on the queen side there. You know, that'll stop any future pushes of this pawn, you know, causing issues. Then I can try and jump my knight up and into the center there. And one issue though is, you know, will he push here? I mean, if he does that, I could capture. If his knight captures, I just jump my knight up. So, you know, now I can jump this knight up here, jump it in here. Okay, well, we'll go ahead, do the same thing, jump our knight forward. Okay, now he's targeting this right here. If he does that, oh, and he's threatening to jump here, forking these pieces. So I have to move my queen forward. Okay, so I need to go here and then chase his knight away. All right, so we'll go there. That stops the fork possibility. If he tries to go here, you know, our rook is covering that. Oh no. Okay, all right. Well, we can stop that by jumping our knight up here, I guess. All right, well, I guess we can just attack this knight as well. Attack the knight and drive it back. If we attack the knight, still there's this threat. So we'll just attack the knight, drive it back. Okay, well, now we can just pick that off and grab, you know, we're ahead of knight now. If he takes, then we got two pieces for that rook, and that's fine with me. And we're getting ready to block by jumping our knight up onto this nice outpost. So I would say we're ahead now. It's interesting. It said that this opening was the Pirc defense, small center defense. So we'll have to take a look at that in the analysis. Okay, so what is his option now? Tries to jump the rook up here. And, well, now, I don't know. We can just jump a knight up here, start attacking. If he wants to push here, what should we do? If we go here, I mean, this is an obvious move. But maybe I go here and block these pawns, because why did he do this? Maybe he wants to fianchetto his bishop and start pushing these pawns, or he just wants to push this pawn or her. Well, I guess this is a guy. So c4. You know, maybe they want to play that. What should I do? Probably just jump forward. That's the obvious move to make. All right, we'll just go ahead and play that. All right, now, oh, we have a little tricky maneuver here. Oh, but does it do anything? I mean, what if we go here targeting this and this? Well, sorry, we're targeting this pawn. They could just push forward and gain more space. So what should we do? Try and attack in the center here, I would think. Although I don't want to open up my king to the rooks coming down an open file. So, all right, we're ahead. We still have plenty of time, so I need to just double check things. All right. Well, you know, what if we go here? Targeting this, you know, or if we go here and they push forward. All right. So we need to activate our pieces. We also have a rook that's not really doing much. This knight is not doing much. I mean, I could jump the knight here and then up here. So maybe we go in that direction. You know, what did this do? Oh, there's this threat here of moving this bishop down. Okay, does that, you know, is that really a threat? Because then I can just move. All right. I guess I'll just ignore it. I'll go there. Get ready to jump up and back up my other knight. You know, give this knight a little bit more activity. Then I can also stop this, you know, any pawn push here in the future. I can bring my rook onto the open file. If they move their bishop here attacking me, then I just step down. Or do I want to line up on this pawn? Or do I want to go here, lining up on this unprotected pawn? Yeah, maybe we do that. So this is a little more active with our queen. We're protecting this pawn. We're attacking this pawn here. We need to bring our other knight up here, bring our rook on the open file. Okay. Well, now, what next? What next? I would say we just bring the other knight up. Bring the other knight up like that. Bring our rook into the center. So centralize our rook. So that's the plan. centralize the rook on the nice open file. If they push here, then what do we do? We probably have to capture there. They want to draw. I don't think so. So right now we're ahead, and we have this nice knight up here on this outpost. I have to bring this rook over here. Maybe keep our pawns on the light squares, so at sometime in the future maybe push this pawn here. Oh, did I miss a fork? I have a fork here, forking the rook and this pawn. So if we attack, but then he could move here. So I'm pretty much forced to go here. Something like that. Maybe we just go here, attacking, then jump the other rook up in there. The problem is if they attack here, well, our knight can capture that. Okay. I just have to watch out. If they attack here, my queen will be under attack. So if they pick that pawn off, my queen would have to move, and then we have a check down here. So maybe I need to capture. So I'll go ahead and do that. I'll capture. Then we can move here. He has an isolated pawn. So just go there. Now we have the threat of forking the two rooks and this pawn, so that would be a nice move to jump the knight up here. Okay. We can just push right here and stop any threats there. Okay. So pretty much have to do that. Okay. So now, do we fork? So maybe we do that. And something I need to work on is going after the king when there is the opportunity to do so instead of looking at pawns and pieces. So are there any checks or anything serious I could do that way? If I attack the rook and we're threatening this pawn, and we could just possibly jump here with the other knight. So we might as well just go after the rook. All right. Do we go here? Well, let's do this first. We'll just attack that. We could even go after this pawn. We can jump our other knight up here. But we could threaten to go after the pawn, then reposition. Oh no, then we would have to go back to here. Okay. Well, oh, now the pawn is protected by the queen. So that's, you have to watch out when there's a piece over there like that, like in the corner, and you overlook it. Okay. Well, what now? I don't think I want to bring the other piece up there, or do I? Well, let's take a look at this. If I go here, we have this check and another check. So let's do that. Probably should have activated this other rook, though, into the center. So maybe that's the next move. Bring this rook to the center to help fight for this open file. We're also threatening to capture with a check, so that might be good. Capture with a check. So if we capture with check, this pawn will be unprotected though. I don't know if I like that so much, but we'll have time because we capture with a check. The king will have to move away or capture with the bishop. Then we capture the bishop with our queen checking. The king has to move, and then we have a fork opportunity to fork the king and queen here. And if we really got lucky, we could try that smothered mate maneuver where you double check here and then sacrifice the queen and then play knight to f2 with a smothered mate. But I'm getting ahead of myself, so let's see what they decide to do here. Let us see. All right, well, at least they're really calculating and thinking about this one. So let's see how it goes. I mean, the smart move would be to centralize the queen. Just bring the queen up here. Oh yeah, if they bring the queen up, then what do I do? Then do I have to bring my rook over here? Because they could, yeah, the best move would be for them to bring their queen maybe into the center to help guard this pawn. And then, all right, yeah, that's probably the best move. Bring the queen over and just guard and attack my knight, because then they could give up their rook for both of my, great knights here. Oh, and then what if, that would be a check. I was thinking if I take this pawn and the queen captures me, but there's a check. So maybe best would be bringing the queen here, threatening this check. Yeah, I think that takes care of their problems. If they just go ahead and give up the rook, centralize the queen and then give up the rook for my two great knights here. Maybe I misplayed this one a little bit. And they're thinking for such a long time. I think they should be able to figure it out, that they need to bring their queen into the center to help guard this pawn. But sometimes when you think too long, it ends up being wrong, the move that you make. But the best move is probably going to be queen to d3, maybe. Queen to d3. And then what could I do with that? After queen to d3, I guess I just centralize my rook here. And then if they capture my knight, I capture, queen captures, then we can check, grabbing a pawn. If they capture, I capture, and my rook ends up being here. So then it would be a rook endgame, and I would just be ahead by one pawn. Maybe I let this game fizzle out into a draw, but they haven't made their move yet. At least they're thinking forever. So, I mean, that's a good sign. But I'm thinking queen here is the best move. Queen to d3. Queen to d3. All right, I don't know why they are taking so long here. Queen to d3 looks to be the best move. If they do that, what am I going to do? Well, I guess then I should just centralize my rook over here. So centralize the rook, targeting all of this. They are really letting the time run down. This is kind of crazy. I hope they end up moving and they don't just quit and walk away. But a win is a win, I guess. So what should I do? If they play queen to d3, I guess the best thing is just to bring my rook to the center here and pile up on this pawn. If they capture, knight captures, queen captures. We capture this pawn with check. Oh, okay, yeah, but then our rook would be here, so we'd be able to capture this. And then, so let's look at that. Queen to d3. Rook to d8. What do they do then? Pick off our knight, or do they go over here and add even more pressure? Well, then if that move is played, then the game will be a little more complicated. But now they're disconnected and it says it will auto resign. But I don't know. I'm thinking queen to d3. I would still come out maybe a pawn ahead, but it could fizzle out into a rook and pawn endgame. So queen to d3 by white, rook to d8. If they capture here, I capture, queen captures. I capture this pawn with check. Their bishop captures, queen captures. They could take my queen. My rook takes. And then I have a better position in the endgame. I could threaten to go, oh, well, I'm attacking this pawn as well, which they would have to protect. I could try and grab the 7th rank. Something like that. Well, it looks like an auto resign might happen in 30 seconds here. Unless they jump back on. I guess we'll have to look at this in the analysis. So I'll do a game review. As always, feel free to leave comments at any time if you see something interesting, or if you want to request a future video, anything like that. Let's see here. All right, they have 5 seconds and then it's auto resigning them, so we can take a look at the game review and see what happened here. All right, we got a win. This is an all-time high now, 1679. So that's the farthest I've been so far on the rating. So hopefully we can try and work my way up to 1700 and beyond and get closer to 2000. All right, game review here. Let's take a look. All right, I played at an 86.6% level. They played at 83.2. But, well, it looks like I was winning. But here, look at the end. I slowly gave them, I was kind of letting my advantage slip. I don't think I should have brought both of my knights up that far. So, looks like I played at a 2200 level. They played at 2050. We had, my opponent had 2 inaccuracies. I had 4, but they had 1 mistake and 1 blunder. Okay, let's take a look here. Start the review. Okay, so E4, I played D6, and they grabbed the center. So then I played this small center. Now, this move they don't like, I guess because I could immediately play D5, and if they capture, I could recapture and chase their bishop. So that's probably why they didn't like that bishop move there. So yes, it says I should have pushed that pawn earlier. Okay, so this is a blunder here, where I just capture and grab both of their knights for my rook. So I grabbed the equivalent of 6 pawns for my rook, which is worth 5 pawns. And now I have the centralized knight. So that was a mistake. I should have dropped back. Because here they could try and give their rook up for 2 of my knights. So, let's see here. It looks like that's where it ended. So we'll have to take a look at this in the analysis. So let's go back here, pull up the analysis and take a deeper look. So E4, D6, this is the Pyrrhic defense. And now we have, D4 grabbing the center because black is not fighting for the center at the moment. So E6, the small center defense. So Pyrrhic defense, small center defense. And they just grab space here. Why not throw all your pawns out? So I play this move in case they want to try and break things open, by pushing here, which I guess I didn't even have to play that, but anyway, moving forward, we're just developing pieces. So they don't like that move. Instead, just knight to c3 would have been better. And then I should play knight to e7, just developing my knight, getting ready to castle. Something like this. So once they played c4, I played this knight move here, but I should have pushed my pawn immediately, and that would have given black an edge. So if we go back, we have this. If they play bishop to b5, which, that's the most recommended move, that allows me to fortify my pawn and chase their bishop away back to d3. Now I can take, and it's almost like a Caro-Kann has this formation, and sometimes the Scandinavian defense. They would capture, and then we could attack knight to f6, but that's the third best move. Better is knight to e7, because now we're keeping an eye on these light squares. We're also ready to castle. So now the recommendation is for both sides to castle. Okay, so back to the game. After knight to e7, they castle, but once again, developing the knight is better. I castle, and I should push d5, as it's been recommending. Here, bishop to e2 would be better. That's interesting. I guess because then it prevents me from being able to push and chase the bishop, which I do right now, finally. So bishop to d3 would have been better, but now black has an edge. It looks like it would have been better for the knight to capture, and I wasn't sure about that. I thought this way the file would be open. We could fight for that. But maybe that wasn't the best choice according to the computer. So retreat. Now I can trade off the bishops here, but they get an outpost for their knight. So capture, queen captures. What would have been best instead of that bishop capture? It would have been better to play rook to e8. Just line up here with the rook on the center. But we trade off. And remember, to take is a mistake, so I probably shouldn't have captured there. I should have forced them to capture. And here I don't want to take, or they'll just pull this pawn into the center, have more space, close down the e file, and have a half open file for the rook here on the f file. So the knights are maneuvering here. They don't like this. Once again, they want rook to e8 here. Rook to e8 would have been better, which is the theme of activating your pieces, putting your pieces on better squares. So usually instead of a pawn push, it's better to go ahead and increase the power of your pieces by putting them on better squares. So, what should I have done? They recommended, well, heck, now it's saying instead of rook to e8, it's saying even knight to f5, but yeah, now it's saying this is best, rook to e8. Okay, back to what happened. So we have the pawn push. I wanted to keep space equal in the center. Maybe I should have chased that knight away first. I don't know. Maybe that's a possibility. But now the knights, this is a good technique. When you have a knight on an outpost, back the knight up with your other knight. That way if I capture, the other knight could jump right in there. So here I plan to put my knight on the outpost. We have the knights jumping forward, trying to infiltrate. I have to cover this square on e6 because there's a fork possibility of my rook and queen. So I move forward. They actually prefer, the preference is rook to e8 once again. All right, anyway, Queen moves over, threatening a mate here. Actually, no, because my knight is covering that. So, I guess that's not really even threatening a mate. All right. Yeah, and now the game, it says, let's see here, A4 would have been better, grabbing space over here. And my best move is A5, B6, or even H6, chasing that knight out of there, which is what I do, the third best move. So now, the blunder. What should they have done? Knight at G to F3. They should have just retreated. So both of us made that mistake. We should have retreated our knight, but we didn't do it. So later in the game, I made a mistake by not retreating as well. And then here, I should just grab the outpost, knight to E4, or grab space over here. So we have the blunder, capturing is best, of course, and then we go ahead and material here by the equivalent of one pawn. And also, if you can capture two pieces, like a knight and a bishop, two bishops or two knights for a rook, it's usually better to do that because two pieces are a little bit stronger than just one rook most of the time. So here we go. We have B6 being played, with I don't know, maybe giving a little more scope to this bishop. So we jump forward, although H5 is preferred. Interesting. I guess that would keep this possibility from happening, pushing here and attacking. So A4, the best move. Now there's this threat to chase my queen. So instead of that, queen to D7. So it looks like I should have just dropped back there, because now they can attack, although G4 is preferred. So another good reason to have your queen on D7 to cover that pawn. So I move over, G4. They still like that move, attacking and opening up my king side. Finally, I get this knight moving up. We have an attack over here. Now this is the best move to play. I capture, which is not best. Queen to E6 would be even better. So queen to E6 guards the pawn. Oh, and if they capture, my knight can capture and guard this. Guard this pawn as well. Okay. All right, well, in the game, we exchange. My queen is under attack. Finally, I moved to D7, which is good. The rooks double up. D5, pushing the passed pawn. They actually prefer that. I mean, I guess that would open things up a little bit. Oh, and if I capture, they could capture here with check, so I wouldn't really want to capture that. Well, maybe the knight could capture, and then I could move the pawn forward to protect the knight if they pin my knight to the queen. Okay, so we push forward. That is best. Now, bishop, grabs this diagonal. Well, protects the pawn, but maybe the threat or the intention behind this move is to push the pawn and knock out one of these knights, maybe. I'm not sure here what they're trying to do. So I attack. That is good, but knight to D5 is better. Yeah, that would have... I guess I was thinking that this was not protected by that queen. I kind of lost track of that queen over there on the edge. So it would have been better instead to jump my knight up here, blocking this pawn and the scope of the bishop, putting my knight on a better spot now, preventing, well, what does that really prevent? I mean, I'm targeting this pawn now, so their best move would be what? B4. A5. or queen to f3, protecting this pawn. All right, anyway, where were we? Back here, we exchanged off. All right, I went back too far, but we exchanged pawns. My queen's under attack. I drop back. They double up, attacking this pawn, so I push forward. Now the bishop lines up on this diagonal, and my knight attacks their rook, so they counterattack. And here, instead of that move, this is an inaccuracy. I should have just dropped back. So I should have played this move, which is best. Then they can start pushing their pawns here with b4. At this point, I'm ahead, though, pretty good. So best is to ignore this and just go with, what, rook to e8. Interesting. Okay. Rook to e8. b5 would be good. And now, oh, this is interesting. So here, that's a nice little maneuver. You bring the rook up here to guard this. Okay. Now, queen over to b3 to start targeting this side. Knight to d5. Repositioning the knight, improving the knight's position a little bit. So then we would have a capture, capture, and a5. Just push forward here, gaining space. So bishop to f8. They like that move, grabbing this diagonal. a6. That could be dangerous. If the queen comes down here, threatening this pawn, so what do we do? We block with bishop to b4. All right, anyway, that's an interesting way the game could have played out there. So instead, we come up with this, and this is where the game ended. And it says that black is ahead here with an almost winning advantage, but what would be best? Oh, and the move I mentioned earlier in the game is best, to just go here, centralize the queen, add pressure to this knight, and then we should go rook to d8. So it looks like that was good, although now they're saying to immediately capture is better. Okay. Well, that's interesting. The immediate capture. Okay, but if it played out like this, then what do we have? Rook captures, knight captures, queen captures. Now the bishop takes, queen takes. We should go ahead and capture. And it goes into a rook endgame, which this is kind of what I thought would happen. And now the best move is that, to protect this unprotected pawn. And our king should just jump up. Looks like the best thing to do is activate the king by going here. And then rook to c3 is the best move. Rook to c3. Rook to d1. I wouldn't have guessed that move because that kind of lets the king out. I would kind of think we might want to do this and block the king in. So if we do that, it says that's best. And then they should go king to g2, rook to d2, king over to h3. The king is kind of closed out there. King over to d6. So we get ready to help push forward our pawn majority over here. Rook to c4. b6. g4. Rook to d3 check. Oh, yeah. So anyway, that doesn't look good. All right. I guess my opponent didn't want to go through all that. All right. Well, feel free to leave comments. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for watching and have a super chess day.